What's up, everybody? Joe White here, and this is going to be kind of a mismatch of things here, as I usually do. Clean shaven today. I like this. Anyway, um, this is going to be my Force Awakens, Star Wars Force Awakens review, as well as a mixture of stuff that happened in movies and video games in 2015, and things that I hope happen in 2016. But let's get to the meat and potatoes, if you will, of this video, and that is Star Wars The Force Awakens. I saw it on Christmas night with my son and my girlfriend. Went to a place called Movie Tavern to go see it, which is kind of like, I would call it dinner theater. Um, it's You sit and you have this little tray table in front of you, which I think the tray table could be bigger. But you sit there and a waitress comes to you and you give them your food order just like you would at an Applebee's or anywhere like that. They even had like a 2 for 25 thing that me and my girlfriend did where we both got chicken tenders and fries. Um, and then, of course, they give you the drinks. Now, the drinks there are expensive. It is $3.50 for a soft drink, but this is about the size of a glass that they bring you. I mean, this is 32 ounces. They bring you a 32-ounce drink and you get free refills all night. So to me, it was worth it. Um, with the 2 for 25, you could get an appetizer. Of course, we got a giant bucket of popcorn because my son wanted popcorn. Um, and we got fries and chicken tenders or whatever. And he got pizza and french fries for his little kid's meal. And the cool thing is beside your seat, they got a little button, and whenever you need a refill on your drink, you just push the button, and the waitress comes and says, "Hey, what do you need?" You know, kind of like that thing on an airplane where you push the button and the stewardess comes. Same concept. I like the fact that the only reason you would ever have to get out of your seat at that place is if there's a fire or if or if you need to go to the bathroom. And I told my son before we went into this movie, "You need to use the bathroom now because Dad is not getting up once we sit there." Um, the previews for this we didn't. I got it. We got an X-Men Apocalypse trailer. We did not get a Deadpool trailer in front of this, which surprised me. I guess because they figured the movie's PG-13 and they didn't want any rated R trailers playing before the run of the movie. I totally understand that. But they could have played the Green Band trailer in front of this movie, I think. Um, and that leads me to another issue before I even get into what I think of the plot, is I'm seeing a ton of critics going, Alvin and the Chipmunks is the only thing for kids to watch at the movie theater. No, I took my son who is 6 to see this movie. He loved it. He sat there and, loved the movie. The first words he said to me when the lights came up, he looked right at me and said, "Daddy, I cannot wait for episode 8." And that right there just, right in the feels, as the kids say today. But let's get into the main plot, starting with the opening crawl. I loved this opening crawl. I loved also the fact that we did not, and I don't know how it was in certain movie theaters, I heard that they did this. They didn't do it at the one I went to, and I've heard that others around the area, in other theaters, they're not doing this as well. I am so happy that we did not see a Disney castle or any kind of Mickey Mouse shit in the front of this movie. Yes, I know Disney owns, Lucasfilm, which means they own Star Wars now. But I'm so glad we just got Lucasfilm a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. No Disney shit. I will have to say that I did miss the 20th Century Fox, fanfare before the movie. But that's just me being nostalgic, I guess. The opening crawl to me was fantastic. I do feel like in the opening crawl that they could have added in an extra little bitty tidbit that said, after the fall of the Galactic Empire, there was some. Basically, we're left without a government, and the rebels and the Empire kind of signed. They're trying to get their stuff together, and out of the Empire, out of the ashes of the Empire, has arose, the First Order, and the First Order is seeking to eliminate, the Republic. They could have gone in with that little bit of a paragraph there. Um, the fact that they went right into, hey, Princess Leia has went and, gotten a good pilot to come in and all this, and they didn't say Poe Dameron's name of the open crawl. I really, really like that as well. Sorry about that. Um, And I like the fact that we immediately, got a little bit of a. We went down onto the planet, and Poe Dameron, he meets up with Lord Santika, and Lord Santika. There's a lot of homages in this movie to Episode 4, and there's one particular scene that I liked, but in my feeling didn't need to be there, and we'll get to that later. Um, they're on the planet of Jakku. Poe Dameron meets a village elder who is Lord Santika, and Lord Santika tells him, "Hey, here's the map. This is where Luke Skywalker is because Luke Skywalker's vanished." That's the very first line. Everybody in the marketing, "Where's Luke? Where's Luke? Where's Luke?" And they still kept you from him throughout the entire. Luke Skywalker was, and the map to him was the MacGuffin of the entire movie. Brilliantly done. Brilliantly done. Um, so Leia has dispatched Poe Dameron to go get this map from Lor Santika on the planet of Jakku. Um, Stormtroopers come in. Kylo Ren, who is now like the leader of the one of the leaders of the First Order, comes in, and they all come in and they capture Poe Dameron. Meantime, his droid BB-8, who is to me, if you were going to get a best supporting actor role in this movie, it's BB-8. He steals the show in every scene that he's in. So they put the map inside BB-8. BB-8 rolls away. During this, one of the stormtroopers who are coming down and laying waste to this village is Finn, who is actually just FN-2187. He's a number. That's all they are now, is numbers. We have now really gotten into something here where we are confirmed that stormtroopers are not leftover clone troopers. They made that very clear here, and it's always been clear, but a lot of people really didn't know. So these newer stormtroopers are kind of like, universal soldiers. They're brought up and conditioned, and they go through mind therapy, and they brainwash you, and they do all this to make you the perfect soldier. But FN-2187 is... He's kind of, he's not sure about this. He's not really too sure. He doesn't want to go out and kill people anymore. So once they capture Poe Dameron, Poe Dameron, he's getting tortured by Kylo Ren, and I know I'm all over the place with this, guys. I'm sorry, I've only seen the movie once, but he gets captured by Kylo Ren, and we learn very quickly that Kylo Ren, the Force is very strong with Kylo Ren. He can, stop. He can really, do mind control. He can read people's minds, which is shit that other Jedi really have not done that before. We haven't really seen that before. We've seen the Jedi mind tricks, you don't want to sell me death sticks and all that shit, and you want to go home and rethink your life, and you don't need to see our identification. But we never seen them really, do the Vulcan mind meld people, for lack of a better term. So, while this is going on, FN-2187, who later gets renamed Finn, he helps Poe Dameron escape, and they escape in a TIE fighter. And I like the fact that not all stormtroopers know how to fly TIE fighters. Hey, can you fly a TIE fighter? Yeah, okay, let's get out of here. And they get out of there, and they end up crashing back down on Jakku. And Finn appears to be the only survivor, of course, because the TIE fighter gets set into quicksand or whatever and blows up. BB-8, on the other hand, is now in Rey's hands, and we meet Rey for the first time, and she's a scavenger who's basically working for food. She takes these parts to some big guy in a tent or in a shed, and the guy goes, "That is worth 3/4 of a portion," and he hands her this powder, and we later see her put the powder in water, and it blooms up and makes bread, which I thought was awesome. One of the cool things about this is, we've always wondered, how do they eat in the galaxy? Well, this is how they eat on Jakku. Anyway, the First Order end up finding out where the droid is because of the fact that Kylo Ren extracts that information from he extracts it from Rey, or extracts it from Poe, and he ends up getting the information that BB-8 now has this map. Alright, what else here? So basically, Finn meets up with Rey after Rey has got this droid now with her BB-8, and the guy in the little shed goes, "That's worth 67 portions or whatever." So it was 60 some portions, and he plunks them all down. And she's like, "Oh man, really?" And then she's like, oh, "I got to do the right thing here, of course." And she says, "Nah, that's okay. I'll just keep the droid." Well, during this time, she meets up with Finn, and they outrun the First Empire or the First Order. I keep wanting to call them the First Empire. They're still the Empire. Sorry, this whole First Order thing, to me, it's still the Galactic Empire. Okay. Um, so they end up running from the First Order, and the First Order, they flee. They flee in the Millennium Falcon, which is still junk, condemned as junk in the galaxy. They're running towards one of the starships, and the guy Finn goes, "How about that one?" She goes, "No, not that junk." And then their original spaceship blows up. She's like, "Junk will have to do." And we pan over and we see it's the Falcon. The Falcon, of course, breaks down, and it is captured by a much larger ship. And we find out that Han Solo and Chewbacca have lost the Millennium Falcon in the 30 years between. This kind of pissed me off. This is one of my disagreements with the script. They could have introduced these two in some different way. To me, and to everybody else out there, Han Solo is such a badass motherfucker that he would never lose that ship. Never. He would never lose that ship. He would never be put in a position, he would never leave that ship in a position to get stolen. That kind of diminished it a little bit for me. I was like, really? Han Solo allowed his Falcon to get stolen? Come on. The whole scene on the Millennium Falcon after Han and Chewie get on there and everything, and before that you had BB-8 looking, which one do you want to go? Finn is like, "You got to help me lie here and say I'm a member of the Empire. You got to tell me where that base is." And the whole thumbs up thing with the lighter was cool, but this whole scene on Han's freighter with these two gangs coming up, you got the criminals, it kills me because it did a lot for me. First, you have to have Han explain that Luke tried to rebuild the Jedi Order, but he went into exile after Kylo Ren turned to the dark side and destroyed all Luke had built. So he kind of pulled a Yoda. "I failed. I got to go into exile." Okay. But the whole scene here with the two gangs and Han, you're still a dirty, rotten smuggler and you owe us money and you owe us this. And then you had the creatures there. I forget what they were called, but they were rolling around eating people. I was like, during that scene, I wasn't sure if it was Star Wars or if it was a remake of Critters, because that's exactly what those creatures look like. They look like critters. They roll into a ball and then they pop up and eat you, and then they roll back down the way again. And it was such a misuse there. It was it was there better than no more of a point than they needed an action sequence during that time. I don't know. Maybe after I see the movie a second time, I'll warm up to it a little bit. But it was such unneeded CG. Sorry. You could have set up the fact that Han is still the same scoundrel that we knew and loved him for in many other ways than this. So after they escape on the Falcon, Han is like, "Okay, we're going to go see Maz Kanata." And Maz Kanata is pretty much the Yoda of these movies. And she can help BB-8 research the Resistance, or he can help BB-8 reach the Resistance. But Finn wants to go on his own. He doesn't want to go with anybody else. He's like, "I'm done. I'm done with this mess." So Rey gets drawn downstairs in the bottom of Maz Kanata's palace and finds Luke's lightsaber. And this is not the lightsaber that he uses in Empire or Return of the Jedi. This is the lightsaber that Luke loses in Empire Strikes Back when he loses his hand, which is also the same lightsaber that was given to him by Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is the same lightsaber that used to belong to Anakin Skywalker. This is now a third generation lightsaber here, guys. The main problem with the whole Maz Kanata scene to me was that yes, the movie is paying homage. Yes, there's a lot of things that pay homage and pay tribute to the Force or to A New Hope. They even do a little bit of a shout out to the prequels by including the pod racing flags outside of Maz Kanata's palace. But did they really have to go full on cantina bar here? Did they really have to go full on cantina bar with this? It's like, okay, here we go. We got to have our cantina scene. I liked it. It was a nice bit of nostalgia. But by then, you had so many callbacks to episode 4 that it was like, oh my lord, enough is enough. You don't have to. At that point, that scene almost made the movie feel like a remake instead of a sequel. That's just my opinion. I like all the characters and everything and the music and everything. I like the scene. I just don't think the scene really got put in this movie. I think you could have, in the coming days leading up to this movie, released this as maybe, you know, they could have done something else to introduce Maz Kanata as being a keeper of a bar. It was, I'm real 50-50 on it. I didn't like the fact that it was a damn cantina scene, but then again, it did do a good job. It did serve its purpose. Um, so the First Order ends up tracking them down to where Maz Kanata is, and you get the first little battle between Kylo Ren and Rey. You get, they end up kidnapping Rey, the First Order does, and Kylo Ren is off into space with her. Meanwhile, you find out that they are, a couple of, like, 5 different planets that are a part of the new Republic. They get blown up as well, so it's by the new Mega Death Star, and that's another thing that kind of like was like, okay. And I knew it was coming. I knew this was coming because this had been released, but it's like, okay, you get the Death Star thing and all this and that. Did you really need that here? Did you have to go back and say, okay, we need a bigger, badder Death Star? It's like, here's the original Death Star, now here's the big Death Star, or the Mega Death Star, or the Mega Planet, whatever they called it. Um, so, the interrogation scene happens with Kylo Ren and Rey. And Rey, if you watch that scene back, Kylo Ren is getting in her head, but Rey automatically is blocking him out, so to speak. Finally, he gets in. He learns everything. Rey all of a sudden realizes I can use the Force. I had a Force, and that's another thing. She had the Force flashback when she touched that. I'm assuming that people have seen this movie here. I'm not going to go into every little detail. Um, Everybody, another main complaint I'm hearing is she learned the Force too quickly. She's already using it and figured it out. Guys, if you go watch Empire Strikes Back, it's a 2-hour movie, and Luke does not train with Yoda for very long before all of a sudden he starts using it. You got to remember, this family is descendant of a dude, and I hate to bring this up, midi fucking chlorians, guys. Come on, it is canon. Whether people want to bring it up in these new movies, whether people hate the concept, it's fucking canon. Anakin was born of a virgin birth. He's Jesus fucking Christ, pretty much, in this universe. These are descendants of Jesus fucking Christ, if there ever was one. Of course they're going to be powerful. The same with Kylo Ren and why he's so powerful right off the bat. Kylo Ren has not completed his training either, but he can still stop a laser blast in midair and all that good stuff. Um, so pretty much, they're gonna have to go rescue Rey, and Rey, so they get to where the Resistance is, and I'll be honest with you, I promised myself in this movie I wasn't gonna cry like a little bitch. But the moment Leia popped up on screen and you heard that theme for her, I was just like, that's it. I lost it. And tears came flowing, guys, because I felt this is what Star Wars is all about. This whole movie is what Star Wars should be. Um, so they end up going on, they're on the planet of Dequar or whatever. They meet R2D2, who has been inactive. He shut himself off since Luke left. Kind of got a broken droid heart, so to speak. And basically, Starkiller Base, which is what this big ice Death Star now is planning to fire. They got their plans out. They're planning to fire on the Resistance planet. You got fighters pretty much doing the whole trench thing with Poe Dameron. And Poe Dameron turns out that he survived the whole thing. Poe Dameron has a very small part in this movie. I was kind of shocked at how little of a part he had. So it's like Poe Dameron is the star pilot going down and all this and trying to blast the shields. We do find out early in the movie that Kylo Ren is kind of like, he's Han Solo's kid, or Han Solo and Leia's kid. And he's very much torn on whether or not he wants to go light or dark with the Force. You even saw him, of course, talking to Luke's helmet, or Darth Vader's helmet early in the movie. I feel pulled by the light, and I'm ashamed. Help me, grandfather. What possessed you to turn dark? Little did he know his grandfather really turned light at the end. But anyway, we see, there's a couple other things. I'm not going to mention Snoke yet, because I'm going to save that for when I go through like my nitpicking section here, pretty much. So bottom line, the shield's down. They're going to destroy Starkiller Base. Han Solo finally, makes contact with Ben Solo, who is Kylo Ren. And Kylo Ren is like, you know what, Father? Thank you. You've helped me out more than you know. And your job your job was to help me go to full on dark. And he kills Han Solo, and Han Solo is dead. He's dead, guys. He fell down that hole and then blew up along with the planet. He's dead. Eventually, after the murder, Chewbacca goes apeshit over the death of Han Solo. And all of a sudden, everybody's, he fires on Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren's hurt by the blaster effect. Well, finally, they're in the middle of the snowy forest. And you finally see Kylo Ren and Rey go at it in a full-on lightsaber duel. And I love the fact that they did not have, while Rey did get the one up on him, Rey still looked like she didn't know quite what she was doing with the lightsaber. And she was being guided by the Force. If you go back and watch that scene, again, you're like, she has not been trained in lightsaber, attacks and lightsaber maneuvers. But she's letting the Force guide her when it comes to defending herself. And it was very, very evident in that scene. Daisy Ridley does an excellent job in this movie. This movie is Oscar-worthy, in my opinion. So the planet splits and blows up or whatever. Supreme Leader Snoke, who is like the Darth Sidious of this movie, tells them, hey, get Kylo Ren back here. It's time for him to finish his training. He knows now. He feels that Ren has gone completely dark. And that's pretty much, it. They line up the map, the MacGuffin of the movie. Rey takes off with Chewie and the Millennium Falcon to go to where Luke is, which she had seen where Luke was previous in the movie, because when Kylo Ren is reading her mind, after she's already had that Force vision with the saber, he goes, I see ocean and an island. And that's exactly where they found Luke at, the ocean and the island. And the movie ends with Luke in full-on Jedi robe attire, which it was kind of weird seeing Luke Skywalker wearing that. I kind of like the all black that he would wear in Return of the Jedi, but nevertheless, he's choosing to follow that religion. I don't know. I've never been too keen on the fact that they turn it into a religion, and of course they did that in Episode 4, right off the bat. Darth Vader, you're the only one around of that failed religion. So with the religion, Jedis are pretty much monks. They got to wear the robes. They got to grow beards. They got to grow the short hair. They got to act a certain way. They got to dress a certain way. So I'm okay with it. It's just weird for me to see Mark Hamill looking like that, especially when you see him play Trickster in Flash. But anyway, and he was also in Birdman, I believe, too. But anyway, the movie ends. They find Skywalker. She hands Skywalker back his own lightsaber, like, here, this belongs to you. Luke kind of shoots her a look. and we go to credits. Now, a couple things here. Supreme Leader Snoke. A lot of rumors going around saying he's Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis the Wise. Um, I agree wholeheartedly. It's good storytelling. It's logical. Don't alienate the audience by saying, I'm really, I'm Qui-Gon's third granddaughter, that he never knew about. And, he slept with Shmi Skywalker and she had a kid out of wedlock with him. And no, they didn't need to go in. They don't need to go that route. There's a lot of people out there that are saying that that's not the case. She's not Luke's daughter. She's Luke's daughter, folks. Go back and watch the movie again. Um, I like the fact that she took Chewie and R2 with her to this island. Here, and Snoke, is Darth Plagueis to me. He's cheated death. He's disfigured. He looks really, really messed up. I like the fact that they went ahead and CG'd him in this movie with the hologram. You gotta remember, in the original trilogy, and 4, 5, and 6, you didn't even see the Emperor until Episode 5, and you did not even see him in person until the tail end, like the last maybe 45 minutes of Return of the Jedi. The rest of that, it was holograms. I'm perfectly happy with it. Hell, even if you go back to the prequels, you saw Palpatine, but the only time you ever really saw the Emperor was on a hologram. He was there in Episode 1 with Darth Vader or with Darth Maul on Coruscant a little bit, but it was holograms mostly. Until the end where they outed him as a Sith Lord and they has the whole showdown with Mace Windu. Let's see here. I like the fight with Kylo Ren and Rey at the end where Kylo is just sitting there hitting himself, Pain leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to, all that stuff. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Whatever the Yoda says in Episode 1. But he's like, I want to feel more pain because pain fuels the fire, the dark side, and all that. Another thing about him completely turning is that when right before he stabs Han Solo, he drops that helmet. And I'm hoping he loses that helmet for good. Everybody's saying, oh, he's disfigured. They're going to have him under a helmet. He's now the new Vader. To me, technology has made it to where he's not permanently scarred. Luke got tore up by a Wampa in Episode 5 and spent some time in the tube and came out and maybe had a couple scars on his face, and that was it. By the time Return of the Jedi came around, the scars were gone. To me, when Kylo helmet. Oh, there you go. There's a good one for the Spaceballs. When Kylo Ren throws down that helmet right before he stabs Han Solo, this is him saying, I don't need to be like Darth Vader anymore. I don't need to be like my grandfather. I'm full on dark and I'm my own type of Sith. I don't need to be like anybody else. I don't need to hide behind a helmet. I don't want to see him behind the helmet again. The guy playing Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, he's a pretty boy. He's a good looking guy. He doesn't need the damn helmet. Let the women go gaga over him. Anyway, let me see here. John Boyega as Finn. Awesome. John Boyega makes this movie to me. I did not like the whole stereotypical, what now, Phasma? What now? What now, huh? I didn't like that as much because it's like, to me, that does not fit into the whole Star Wars universe. That was very modern and it's just, I'm sorry. I didn't like it at all. Daisy Ridley as Finn. I saw something today on Facebook. I believe my friend Danny posted it where Kristen Stewart is giving Daisy Ridley advice on how to be a Hollywood superstar. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm sorry. Kristen Stewart, you got thrust into that because you cheated on the dude from Twilight. Sorry. You created your own fucking scandals and thrusted yourself into that. Daisy Ridley, to me, is an awesome actress. She's not monotone. She's not fucking emo. She's awesome. And she looks good, too. She looks better than Stewart, if you ask me. Carrie Fisher, again, just knocks it out of the park here. there was a while there where Carrie Fisher did not want to embrace Leia because, let's face it, she was typecast from being in Princess Leia. And I'm so glad that she decided to come back for this. And I'm so glad that they're probably paying her a truckload of money. And I'm so glad that we're going to get to see more of her. Because one thing that I'm wishing for, and when Han Solo dies in the movie, she feels it, man. Because people forget that Leia can use the Force. She's descendant from Darth Vader just like Luke is. So I'm hoping, and correct me if I'm wrong, please leave me a comment. I think Leia mentioned somewhere in this movie that Luke was trying to train her as well when everything went wrong with Kylo Ren. I want to say somewhere in there that Leia says something about being trained a little bit. They have never mentioned this. They have never showed this. I'm hoping to see Leia pick up a lightsaber sometime in the next two movies. I want to see a lightsaber fight with Leia, you know? Or maybe have her go up against Captain Phasma, and even if it's deflecting a couple laser blasts, you know, with the lightsaber, I want to see a lightsaber in Princess Leia's hands. Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. There's really not much to say about him in this movie. The one thing that I am hoping for in the next movie, I'm hoping the movie ends with, or begins, where the last one picked off. I want to see opening crawl. I want to see a little bit about what's happening here, and then, you know, in the last, maybe it'll go a couple weeks afterwards, but I want to see, you know, that pan go down, and I want to see it go down on that planet, and I want to see Luke training Rey. We never really have gotten to see how Jedis train. We saw a little bit with Yoda training Luke, and, you know, that right there really didn't give much to it. I want to see Jedi training. I'd love a good classic 1980s training montage even showing this, you know? So why the hell not? Throw it in there. Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron, awesome. Very awesome. He is Han Solo, modern day Han Solo for me. Maz Kanata is an awesome character. I'd like to see a little bit of her. Her bar got pretty much, you know, wrecked in this one, but I'd still like to see her. The one that I did not really... I was hoping for more Captain Phasma here than what we got because they hyped her up so much, and the lady playing her, I'll be honest with you, she's not even listed. Well, she's listed on you know, the Wikipedia page, but she's not really listed as a main character here. Gwendolyn Christie, who plays her, is a beautiful lady, and I hope to God we see more of her in this series. I would not be surprised. You know, she is around, you know, she's 37 years old. And Mark Hamill is how old here? Mark Hamill's 64, okay. So they couldn't do that. I was going to say, I would not be surprised to learn that Captain Phasma is Rey's daughter or Rey's mother here, because that's the main question coming out of this movie, is that if she is Luke's daughter, who gave birth to her? You can't do the virgin birth thing here, folks, because somebody's got to be her mother. She doesn't just appear out of thin air. And there's a key scene here where they, you know, show Rey getting dumped off of Jakku, and you see her parents flying away, you know, and it's like, no, come back, come back. They better get into that backstory here. That's pretty much all I got to say for the movie. I know I'm leaving a lot of stuff out. I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, it's a pin. You're nitpicking," but the movie is just so good that if you're going to find the stuff that I found bad about the movie is not that bad. Yes, we could have used a little bit more Phasma in the movie. Yes, the cantina scene really didn't need to be a cantina scene, but I'm glad it did. I was laughing, I was smiling, and I liked it. But then again, it was like, when I look back on it, I'm like, did it really need to be that? Oh well, it is what it is. But anyway, that's my Star Wars Force Awakens kind of review and thoughts, if you will. The movie has smashed every box office record. It's definitely my favorite movie of 2015. Probably my favorite movie of the last 5 years. It is now if I'm going to re-rank my Star Wars movies here, the prequels are all the way down at the bottom. Um, I still like Empire Strikes Back a little bit better, but this falls right under. Like if I was to rank just the episodes 4 through 7, I would say it would have to be Empire, this, A New Hope, and then Return of the Jedi being down there at the bottom for me because I didn't like Return of the Jedi that much. I liked it, but it's not my favorite one out of all of them. But as far as other movies this year, Inside Out is awesome. I bought that for my son for Christmas. Me and my son went and saw it in the movie theaters twice. It's the only animated movie that I ever went back to the theaters to see. And there's a reason why. It was a really good movie this year. It'll leave a smile on your face. It's very funny. It's got hockey in it. I'm a big hockey fan, so that's awesome. Um, Other movies that I saw this year, Avengers Age of Ultron was really good. I really did like it. I hated the fact that there's some nitpicky things about Age of Ultron. That entire fight scene just goes on and on and on at the end, and it was kind of boring. And I'm hoping that Infinity Wars doesn't follow suit of, okay, we all argue for a few minutes, and then we get back together because we got a bad guy to fight, a robot to fight, or whatever. And the robot fight is going to take about, robot fight's going to take up half the movie, and then after that, there's no more character development. We all go our separate ways. That's the formula now. Um, as for 2016, as if 2015 wasn't enough, the MCU is going to get a lot bigger now. Stage 3 is beginning, and Ant-Man, I did manage to see Ant-Man. Ant-Man was awesome. I did like Ant-Man. The closing fight scene between him and Yellow Jacket. Wow. But Ant-Man was the end of Stage 2, and now we go on to Stage 3. And we're going to start Stage 3 with Captain America Civil War, which now is including Spider-Man, which I'm hoping that they do it right. Um, the Russo brothers have a lot to live up to with this movie and the way that it's been hyped up. As for Batman vs. Superman, I've already given my thoughts on that. I thought that they gave away way too much in that trailer. Um, I thought that, there's got to be a big reason why we have not heard any lines out of Gal Gadot's mouth in these trailers. We have not heard one. We've seen Wonder Woman, but we have not heard one bit of Wonder Woman speaking. Then again, they could be doing the whole Luke Skywalker thing on us. Anyway, other than that, you got Doctor Strange coming out this year. I was looking forward to Gambit until I found out who's playing Gambit, and I'm not a big Channing Tatum fan. I can't stand Channing Tatum. Anything that I've ever seen Channing Tatum in, I've disliked pretty much. I was happy when they killed him off in G.I. Joe. Um, so, it takes a special kind of actor to play Gambit. You got to put on that accent. You got to have the Cajun accent. You got to be able to throw those cards right. And I just don't think Channing Tatum is it, guys. I just don't see it. I'll probably watch the movie. I don't know if I'll go to the theaters and see it, which really saddens me because Gambit is my favorite X-Men. The movie that I'm most looking forward to this coming year, comes out before any of those movies, and that's Deadpool. I'm really looking forward to Deadpool. Valentine's Day last year, my girlfriend, I got dragged to go see 50 Shades of Grey. This year, my girlfriend and I were going to see The Merc with a Mouth. So, it's a little bit of a payback there. Um, the trailers for this movie and the marketing campaign for this movie is awesome. I have not seen that many TV spots for this movie because it's kind of hard to even air the Green Band trailer on TV, but I think it has a shot. It's probably going to be the first movie of the year to break 100 million at the box office. So we will see that. Video game wise, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a video game movie later on this week, probably tomorrow, as to what we saw in 2015 compared to what's coming up in 2016. A little bit of E3 thrown in there. We're only 6 months away from E3. So, and it's going to fly by. June will be here before you know it, folks, as far as video games go. And then we got Comic-Con right after that. Ah. And also, while I'm on this thing, I want to leave a little question for you guys. Is Stage 3, as far as the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is Stage 3 going to be it? By the time Inhumans gets here, are we going to be burnt out? Will the bubble have bursts? Let me know what you think in the comments here below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this went on way too long and I babbled way too much, and people are going to be like, Joe, you didn't know what you were talking about when it came to the movie. You babbled on and had to think. I've only seen the movie once, and I'm tired, folks. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and I'm off tomorrow. And that's going to be my only day off for 7 days straight. I got to work for 7 days straight coming up here because of the fact that they moved us new schedules around. I'm going to Ring of Honor on January 9th as far as, pro wrestling goes. As for my birthday, I get to go to Ring of Honor, which is awesome. And then right after that, it's like, my birthday and then Deadpool are the only two things I'm looking forward to in the next 2 months. And after that, it's working my ass off and saving up enough time to where I could go on vacation, later in the summer. But, anyway, I'm hoping to create more videos out for you guys. I know that I've been gone a little bit. I'm so sorry about that. But that was my Force Awakens / look ahead to 2016. And we will see you guys down the road. Thanks for watching.